Hi, everyone. I wanted to do this quick live. Uh, I've been getting a lot of messages. My Jojo, are you okay? We haven't heard from you. We haven't seen you in a while. Um, yeah, I've been, focusing on like what we need to do next to remain sustainable and make our enterprise viable in Tanzania. And I'm also recovering, as I said before. I've been taking the CMOS, trying to get some rest, and having more fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that. So, um, yeah, hello, hello, hello. Hello to everyone from all over the place. And I know a lot of people are like, have messaged me and sent me emails seeing if I'm okay, if everything is fine. So thank you so much for those emails. Thank you so much for the people who, are inquiring on me, inquiring on JoJo. Thank you so much for the people who are, trying to come closer to me in this time. Hey, Noifen, how are you? Thank you. Yeah. So as you can tell from the last videos that I put out, this is a very challenging time. And it's Tanzania does present its own unique challenges, right? But I have been challenged a lot in my life, and it's through those challenges that I've gotten, sharper, stronger, bigger, and I'm one of those people. I've faced a lot of adversities. There are some people who they've gone through life, maybe they were born into this fantastic household and, everything was set right for them and all their stars were aligned and, they lived a nice life and the only challenges they had were like a typical challenge, like, oh my gosh, things are so rough here or things are so rough in my relationship or whatever. But I'm one of those people who did not grow up like that. And I've said that multiple times before on the previous blogs years ago before I opened the company. I used to talk a lot about the things that I experienced and I endured and how I overcame those things. One of the things that I never talked about, what I never shared, was my experience of the year 2020 and how, those experiences shaped what I did when I came to the African continent. So the next post, the next video that I upload is going to be a movie. And I'm trying to cut it down to make it a lot shorter, but it's there's just so much there. It's a full feature movie, and I decided that I'm going to post it on YouTube, and it will be free. Initially, because I come from a film background, I know how to market a film like that. It deals with a lot of African American history, it deals with a lot of racism, it deals with colorism, it deals with a lot of things that are not discussed in our culture. As a Jamaican, we have what we call color prejudice and color consciousness, and I discuss those things. You're going to see Jojo and I go through something, and so it is going to definitely be worth the watch. It's one of those things that when I was sick, I was thinking to myself that there are things that I never told. There are things that I should have told, but they were so traumatic for me that I could never find myself to edit, to put those things together in a context that it would be valuable for anyone else. So I buried it. It was one of those things that I've been holding inside and I was burying deep inside of me. And The way how 2020 transpired for me is I never got the opportunity to process. Never. I never got the opportunity to go through and go, wow, that really happened. No, because things happen, other things happen, other things happen, and it was just stuff, 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 stuff after stuff, and I was reactionary. And I was in fight mode and flight mode, and then in flight mode, and I've been in flight mode for the last 3 years. I've been in flight mode where I was just going from hurdle to hurdle to hurdle, and never really processing. And those things are extremely important. So I'm going to put it out. Initially, when I decided that I was going to use the footage that I had, I was going to roll it into my thesis film. And as I was cutting the film, this is back in 2020, as I was cutting the film, uh, I realized that I was not in the frame of mind to cut a film like that, because when you're editing, every time you hear, you have to listen to the same thing over and over and over and over again. And because this matter was so personal, I couldn't cut it, and then knowing that it was going to go to judge, it was going to be criticized. Maybe I didn't use this transition, and I thought there is no way I could put this film out to be judged and criticized in film school. So my thesis film changed 3 times. The last film was supposed to be this film. And since that time, I more material, more things, and I decided to change the format and change the way how things were compiled. So this is essentially my thesis film, and I never submitted my thesis. I never submitted my thesis. So there is a lot there, and I'm going to, for those of you who want to see it, it is triggering for a lot of people. For those of you who have overcome something, or is looking for inspiration, or is looking for something that they can point, hey, Anne, how are you? For something that they can point to and say, God is real and God works miracles, and you know um there is light at the end of the tunnel. This is that story. Okay. And I never told the story, and I started to think to myself that you know this story, because I never told it, it's one of the things that are eating me up inside. It's one of the things that are like hurting me, because I was delivered and I never talked about my deliverance. I never gave credit. I never spoke about, I never spoke my truth. You know, I never spoke my truth. And those are the things that, those are the stories that people need. It's my experience, but the way how the story, the way how I was delivered, that was for everyone. It wasn't for me to keep and hold inside. So I'm putting that together. I'm putting that together um, so that for everyone to have this story. That's why I'm doing it. Okay? And I had to overcome a lot of fear, a lot of people, like thinking about judgment and what are people going to say and how would people receive it. And, and of course you always have like, what's the word? You always have detractors who are looking for points of weakness to try to, manipulate you or manipulate a conversation and sway things in a certain way. And, I had to overcome that because the the blame wasn't on me, but I was acting like I did something wrong. And, it's one of those things that it's like the way I felt, it's like when people, if someone raped a woman and the woman would be so ashamed to speak, to say what really happened, because there's a voice out there that would say, "Oh, what were you wearing?" You know? And you could have been wearing a burlap sack and covered from head to toe, and, and someone would just be looking for an opportunity. And, but that's how I felt. So I've had this for 3 years, and it's a very difficult story to tell. And it's a very important story to tell. And I'm choosing to tell this story now because there are people who were a part of that story. And I never, I never got to thank them. I never, I just put it behind me. It was just like, oh, move on, you know? And it's one of those things that I need to get out, right? And on top of thanking people, there are people on this channel who I've discussed some things about, like my difficulties growing up. And they have emailed me and they have been watching this channel for years because they experienced similar things, but they didn't have a voice. They didn't have a way of expressing exactly what was happening to them. And when I was speaking out, when I was speaking up, it helped them, and people asked me to, oh, Renee, open those films again, open those earlier videos again. I have thousands of earlier videos because I was filming every day, and or sometimes twice a day I was coming on. And if I open them now, what will happen is all of them will be open today on the same date. And all of the content that I have now would get pushed down. It's just how the YouTube uh algorithm works. So some of what I have is some things people have never seen before. They were there, but no one was watching them because they were the earlier things. And then some I just never posted. I just never put it together. I just never posted. So yeah, that's what I'm looking to put out within the coming days, and I'm taking the time to process how that story should be put out, you know. I'm taking the time, and that's what I'm doing with my spare time. That's what I'm doing with, I'm waking up early. It's like 4 something a.m. That's what I'm doing before it's time to get Jojo ready for school, before it's time to do anything for the restaurant, before it's time to do anything else. I'm just like trying to put that together because I believe that now more than ever, it is one of the most important material that I can share with the world, right? So, for those of you who are like watching the videos that I made before and saying, you sound frustrated, like you're gonna leave, and I mean, I'm like I said, those are the things the company experienced when we just started. When we just started, there were just like hurdles and hurdles and hurdles. Now it's about maintaining. Now it's about continuing what we have already started, right? So the foundation is already set. The things have already been done. For a company that is only 18 months old, you know, we have done a tremendous amount, right? So I am not necessarily saying, oh, don't do this or don't do that. What I'm saying is it has been difficult, and I needed to say that it was difficult, and I needed to share the things of why it was so difficult. And I needed other people to understand the difficulties that I had to endure, because I am the only person representing my company on mainland in Tanzania. I'm the only person actually doing the work, the day in, the day out. I'm the person whose name is attached to everything. So I'm the person who is getting loans and going in debt and doing all the things that needs to be done and buying the material and purchasing everything. And so there is a toll, there is an opportunity cost to the success that I have had, you know. And then on top of that, there is, like I said, maintenance. So Tanzania is not easy, that you for things that you need to do, right? So I'm not dissuading anyone. What I'm saying is it was difficult for us, and those are some of the reasons why it was difficult. And one in Jamaica them say one and can kill louse or one and can clap. Okay. And this one hand has been doing a lot. And I've been doing a lot because I realize that Tanzania is changing, has to change, must change, will change. There is no way that the way how things work here is sustainable for local or international business. Okay. And the only way it's going to actually change and be stronger is when we have companies like mine who are attracting foreign investments into the country and supporting the local people. Once those things are recognized, that we're not just looking for exploitation. We're not just looking to, oh, I got your stuff and I'm going to sell it back. Africa is changing. Africa is changing significantly. I am a Pan-Africanist. There is no way I can come to Africa and also you exploit African women. That is not in my philosophy. It is not in my makeup. It is not in my whole everything. So my objective with the East Africa Seaweed Company is to make a playing field that is inclusive of the seaweed farmers. See, the price of seaweed hasn't changed in over 25, almost 30 years. The major companies that buy the sea moss, what they do is they buy a little bit here, buy a little bit there, buy a little bit here, and they keep the prices artificially low, therefore keeping the farmers in a position where they can only be, in subsistence, and that's just something that shakes me up, right? I come from Jamaica. My family comes from sugarcane. They're sugarcane farmers for generation, and it's very similar to what the Europeans have been doing in Jamaica and the Caribbean and the rest of the world. It's very similar to what the Belgians have been doing with cocoa and rubber. It's very similar to what they're doing. They don't want to come here and build processing and refinery. They don't want to invest in Africa. And I know this because we had a financial due diligence agent come here and explain that they have been trying to get the major companies to come to Tanzania and build refinery. And they said no. So who is left but us? Who is left but the other, the foreign companies who recognize that there's an opportunity there for development? Yes, it's tough. I mean, seriously, it's tough. And it's tough on me because I can't afford to hire consultants. I can't afford to hire lawyers, and I can't afford to hire accountants. And all of the things that keep the machine going. As a small and medium enterprise, I am outpriced, right? So the cost of documentation, the cost of paperwork, there are little things that I can do to be very effective in this market, right? But when that money to do that little thing is being siphoned off with excessive paperwork and excessive, things here and there and there and there, it's kind of it's daunting, right? It's very difficult. So, those are some of the things that I had to talk about. But at this point, like I'm saying, we are here. We're here. We're on the ground. And it takes a lot to be on the ground, right? It takes a lot to be on this ground. So on my ground, I have almost 4 acres of land. On my ground, I'm at the sea. On my ground, I have employees. I had employees before I started the company, and I needed to maintain and keep those employees. Why? Because this property requires maintenance. It requires people to take care of the grass, to take care of the trees, to clean the seats, to make sure that the salt isn't eating down everything. It requires a certain kind of machine to keep it running, right? Then we have the seaweed. That requires staff to maintain the drying tables, to maintain the drying of the seaweed, to maintain the collection and the materials and the packaging and things like that. Okay. Then we have the restaurant, which is a whole new entity, a whole other tax person. It's a whole another living, breathing apparatus, right? And the restaurant is extremely valuable and important because it serves as a point of distribution in a market where it's very, very rarely known what sea moss is and what sea moss is good for, right? And so it helps as a point of distribution for a variety of things, not just, not just food or not just sea moss, but sea moss based goods, right? And that also helps us to distribute in the local market, to distribute across the borders. So having that presence and visibility is necessary and it is important. Okay. So, if we were talking about just exporting the raw material, it would be fine. Okay. And I looked for the markets. However, the large buyers are not interested in fair trade. So it's incumbent on those who are looking to purchase sea moss, whether for personal or for commercial purposes. You need to know the source of your sea moss. The major purchasers of the Tanzanian sea moss, these are the multi-billion-dollar oligarchs. And what they do is they take the sea moss and process it down to a substance that has no nutritional value called carrageenan. And that carrageenan is what drives the ingredients industry. So it's in toothpaste, shampoo, excuse me, um, spices, you name it, condiments, right? Because it's a thickening agent. And so that's where the money is. The money is in the processing. It's used in beer fining, wine fining. It's used in a variety of different things. And then when I do my check and I do my research, I realize that since carrageenan, there are no carrageenan factories here. However, carrageenan is a requirement for certain ingredients. Where exactly is that ingredient coming from? So what they do is they take the sea moss, they take it to Europe, they process it, they get it down to this carrageenan substance, and they send it back to Africa. They send it back to the manufacturing entities that need it for processing. So do you understand what I'm seeing, what I'm saying? So it's a circle. So it's the same thing they have been doing for generations. It's the same thing they do with the cocoa. They take the cocoa out, they process it, they sell it back under a brand name, they add some sugar, they add something else to it. Here, buy this product, right? And then we buy it. We buy it because even though we know, but we don't have the processing. So Africa is changing. I'm sure you're seeing all the stuff that's happening in the news. That's not happening for bad. That's happening for good. Okay. And at the end of the day, it's the exploitation of Africans that people are looking to break. So microprocessing, if you can purchase your chocolate, your cocoa, your anything from microprocessors in Ghana or in Congo or wherever, that's where you need to buy. Please stop going into the supermarket and buying the non-traceable, non-sustainable, non-inclusive cocoa and coffee. And as CMOS starts to become one of these commodity products, traceability and inclusiveness is going to become more and more important. And if you recall where coffee was in the early 90s, it was nothing but exploitation of the farmers in Costa Rica, Colombia, those Central American countries and those coffee producing countries. Okay? And until fair trade in coffee was introduced, the farmers were all living in slavery and subsistence. And me physically taking myself and going to see where the farmer lives, what does the farmer eat? How do they survive? Where do they send their children to school? What kind of bathrooms do they have in their house? How are they eating? How are they transporting anything? Where do they get materials from? Are they able to sustain themselves? Are they able to finance themselves if they needed to go do something? If they needed to start a new project, if they needed to do, something for their community? What is the schools like? And to go with my own two eyes and be presented with that level of poverty is shocking. Okay. And you would think that we were in the 1920s. We're talking about in 2022, 2023. Okay. So I understand my position, as hard as it may be and as rough as it may be on me. I am in a very unique position to create opportunities for other people. So when it comes to microprocessing, we have to start somewhere, okay? And this is why having places like the restaurant is important, where we can distribute the things that we process. With processing without distribution, it doesn't make any sense. And because CMOS is not widely known in the local community, it needed to be introduced to the community as far as drinks, gels, jams, smoothies, and how it can be used. Okay. And that is really what will serve as the marketing catalyst for the wider range when people are looking to purchase the brand and take it in and distribute it in Europe, in Asia, in Canada, in North America. That is the driver, that popularity, that name, that traceability, that inclusiveness, that visibility. Those are the intangibles concerning a brand that we are attaching to something as respectable and visible as a restaurant. So the brand is the same as the restaurant, Mwani Mama. So if you come underneath that brand, people will know that this is traceable stuff. This is not the exploitation stuff. Okay. So for those of you who are still interested in working together, right? We still need people. Like, I can't do this all by myself. I need support. If people are looking to book the Exodus House coming to Tanzania, go ahead and send me an email, right? Because whatever it is that I get goes back into the support of this mission. And, it's very important what I'm doing because let me see, I'm going to send this Exodus Africa 1 at gmail.com. That is my email address, and I'm going to post it here so people can see it. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. So I put everything back into the business. If it's not concerning at Gmail. Yeah, I put everything back into the business. Okay. And so one way or the other, it supports the farmers indirectly. It supports the mission indirectly. Yes, we're looking for partners for microprocessing, for processing. We have the land, we have the space, we have the documentation, we have the option, the opportunity to go into supermarkets. We have the opportunity to work with farmers up and down the Swahili coast from Kenya to Mozambique. We have real tangible relationships and opportunities. But at this point where it's like I have to be rapid, I have to be on top of things, I have to make sure that everything is going to make sure we go up the hill, right? I can only do so much as one person and one human being. And I had to take a step back and look at it. Why am I getting often sick? Why am I dealing with the things that I'm dealing with? Why is it that the whole house could be sick, but when I get sick, it takes me down for 6 straight weeks? It takes my body a longer time to recover. And the number one issue is stress. So I'm looking now, as I always have been, for people who understand the philosophies of what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to do. Okay. At this point, it is very, very easy for me to go stateside, for me to go to DHL, ship out a bunch of stuff, go back stateside, set up a website that has, that's linked to WooCommerce that can go straight through my bank account and start doing everything I'm doing from the States. Okay, that would probably be easier if I'm looking to get into the US market, but that breaks up what I'm trying to do, which is the entire process. So I'm looking for distributors, people who are looking to do just that, or they, or if they could pull together themselves and get warehouses or get things and then start to import this traceable quality sea moss from Tanzania. I am looking for distributors in their particular market. I'm looking for people who are in the sea moss industry, trying to get into the sea moss industry for shared containers. Here, there's no such thing as full containers, less than full containers. You have to have a full container to do anything. Okay. I'm looking for the people who are looking to be representatives of the product in their market. I would only be working with one particular company for one particular region. So that's what I'm looking to do. Okay, so the processing thing is extremely, extremely important. Um, because like I said, if we don't have the processing here, we don't have an industry. It's just the same thing. It's just hand to mouth. Why is it so blurry? What's going on? Excuse me. Let me see what's going on right here. Oh, I think that's better. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was kind of jump. Oh, there it is again. Yeah. So that's what I am trying to accomplish. I am trying to accomplish processing on mainland. Okay. It's not, because we're a company, I am not in the same position as other people who are only concerned about themselves and their children and just selling it online, and whatever I get for it, I can take and then I keep going. Okay. Maybe that's a good way for some people who are in their boat, but in my boat, I'm looking to make impact and support the farmers, and I'm in the position to do that. So as CMOS over the next coming years becomes recognized as a commodity similar to cocoa and similar to coffee, because of its versatility, you're going to find the consumer leaning down more on traceability. What is this product? Where is it coming from? Who is growing it? How is it grown? All of these things that make up an inclusive value chain, right? And so from here, I am early, right? Um, when I just started the company, I went to Fair Trade, and none of the fair trade organizations had fair trade on seaweed. So there's no process for me to go through to get certification to put fair trade as on my labeling or packaging to say this is fair trade sea moss. But that does not preclude me from doing the right thing what that the opportunity presents. So again, those who are looking to go into the distribution channels, the distribution portion of the sea moss, of the dried sea moss. Sea moss is extremely versatile. It traverses the 155 billion US dollar nutraceutical industry. It traverses the skincare, skincare, which is about 14 billion US dollars. It traverses the ethnic hair care and cosmetics that in is another powerhouse. So why aren't we taking a product that we have been using generationally in Jamaica and in the rest of the world? Now it's become something. Now it's become a popular thing to, oh, I'm taking my sea moss. And, if you check 10 years ago, if you said to one of these people, eat some of this, they're like, ooh, no, I'm not having that. And it's very, very important that those of us who know what it is and know the value of it, that we drive the industry from a nutritional perspective and from a versatility perspective. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background if you've never heard about sea moss in your whole entire life. Sea moss has 92 of the 104 trace minerals that humans need to survive. Okay, my family has been using it generationally. People in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, in the islands, we have been using it as food. We have been using it as an aphrodisiac. We've been using it for fertility. We've been using it to heal ourselves for as long as we know. Okay, so it is stitched into us and a part of our culture. Me personally, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2013. I had a pituitary adenoma in my pituitary gland. Everything was out of whack. And I realized that in order for me to maintain the lifestyle that I was living in America, which is I only ate, like certain kinds of food. I couldn't have anything with like, that was exposed to chemicals and pesticides, and that was expensive to maintain. So I left America and I went back to Jamaica and I ate the things that I knew to eat. And I think that's a part of I'm digressing, but anyway, I ate the things that I knew to eat because you cannot take away someone's, their DNA knows that they should be doing. When I lived in the States, I used to go to Jamaica every 3 months, 4 times a year, get my herbs, get my roots, get my things, and come back. And that's what I used to sustain me through those dark winter months. Okay. And I found myself in a horrible relationship with someone who I couldn't be out of sight for a minute, let alone go to Jamaica by myself. Like, that there was this grave mistrust for women. And I was like, what is this person even thinking? Like, I've traveled all over the whole world before even knowing this person. And here he comes trying to tell me, where to go, what to do. And I didn't travel for a long time because I was afraid of the arguments. And my body started to break down for it. Okay. And so when I went back to Jamaica to get my herbs and my roots, a very big part of that was like my the soursop leaf, the moringa, the guinea hen weed, the sea moss. Okay. Now the sea moss, because I knew that what was causing the pituitary adenoma was due to a hormonal imbalance somewhere, I lived on it. Okay. So 2 years later, I became pregnant with Johanna. They couldn't find any traces of the pituitary adenoma. Um, they had me on one drug, which was just horrible. And I remember getting up one day and looking at my dresser covered with medicine. I must say, but what is? I can't Jamaica I come from and make them people here take me for idiot because all the doctors were getting their money. I was seeing an endocrinologist, the general practitioner, a neurologist, and I had to see a psychologist because one of the medicines that they gave me I didn't fall asleep. I couldn't fall asleep. And in order to get a medication strong enough to put me to sleep, I had to be prescribed by a psychologist. And so the psychologist, so it add to the list, right? And that was my life of going to hospital and doctor and doctor and doctor. And I always said to myself that if ever I get sick in that country, I am going to go back to Jamaica. And I look on my dress and I said, but wait, I'm not, this can't be the same person. Why am I staying here and, and just paying and not getting better? Meanwhile, everybody get their money. Everyone is getting their money and I am not getting better. I'm said, no, mm-mm. So I went back to Jamaica and I think it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Sell my car, sold all of my furniture because I couldn't maintain the way I needed to eat. And became pregnant 2 years later, had Jojo. Now, when Jojo was born, I was like, how am I gonna feed this baby? I sure cannot feed her here. I can't give her the water. I can't give her nothing out of the, I can't give her nothing here. There's nothing here I could present to her and say, this is a fruit. Child, this is food. Eat this food and you will grow strong. I didn't believe that at that time. So when Jojo was 1 month old, I took her right back to Jamaica, naturalized her so I could keep her there as long as I wanted. And then, started to give her the sea moss. So I have a specific formula for Jojo's baby food. And it's so funny that there are people who were coming to this house and I was giving them that Jojo's baby formula before I got involved in the CMOS because I didn't have the time yet to get involved in the industry or know that there was an industry to get involved in. And I was giving out that to people with babies, like this is what you do for your baby with the CMOS. So, you know, I made my own formula for Jojo: banana, half a spoon of cocoa, a handful of oatmeal, the sea moss, um, and you put that in your blender, right? And so the sea moss would thicken it. So of course you have to soak it, or you boil it, or you put it in the porridge. But I used to soak it. I didn't put it in the porridge. I soaked it for like overnight, and then I would break it up and put it in the sea moss when it was nice and supple. Now in Jamaica, what we have a wild sea moss that is not, it's not really sustainable. We don't really have a big sea moss farming industry. So what happens is the farmers, they would go, the fishermen, when they go out to sea, and those little rocks and little reefs out there, that's where they would get the sea moss. So their species is not exactly the same kind of species that we use here in Tanzania. So out the species in Jamaica is more like a cottony. It's not a cottony. It's like a cottony. So they have different kinds, but the ones that we use they look like noodles, right? And so that would be her baby food. And then when I decided to leave Jamaica, I carry up a whole suitcase. And for a long time, Jojo used to say, chocolate milk, I want chocolate milk. And that would be her chocolate milk. It was the cocoa, banana, oatmeal, and the sea moss. And there was enough sweetness in the banana. You could add like a tip of glucose or, a tip of honey. In America, they say don't give the baby honey. It's something that we give our babies in Jamaica. So, you know, um, it works for us, right? But not too much, just enough for a little taste. And that's how I fed Jojo. So when I came to Tanzania and I saw this thing coming up on the beach, it was like, wait a minute. I saw it coming while we were doing construction and I didn't pay it any attention. And then when we were finished with construction, I noticed that it only comes at a certain time. It's not there all the time. And I would watch the beach waiting for it to come, and it would be missing for like months at a time. And then also you have high tide. So if I'm not out there like at a certain time of the day, obviously I'm not going to see it. And then you have high tide, so I wouldn't see it. So it would elude me because I know I saw it. I know I saw it in the water, and it would elude me. And one evening I ran out there to catch it before the tide took it away, and I put out a live like some of you watching will remember, I'm like, is this the stuff? Look at it carefully, So it got me an opportunity to examine it. And then, I went to the government to get a special license to collect it. And what they said to me was, sure, you can go ahead and collect this thing because you have an eco-friendly way of doing it, which is one of the things that we do. We don't go out there and just yank it and drag it. It has a life cycle, it has a season, and the one that we collect wild is extremely nutrient dense. It has been proven against Jorcat, Helicell molt 4, Helicell lines, Klebsiella. And I think I'm going to post the video of me talking to the president um of Zanzibar, telling him about the nutritional value of the one that we collect, right? I don't think I posted that video before, but I'll go back and check. And so it's extremely nutrient dense. It's the one thing that we're doing in the restaurant is finding ways of incorporating that into salad bowls and things like that. In Hawaii, they use something similar. I'm not sure if it's the same species, but there is a dish that they actually put seaweed in, and the seaweed is a very similar Gracilaria species to what we are putting in. Yeah. So having the restaurant and showing people how to use it, how to consume it, how to eat it, how to use it for their nutritional value, and being able to access it is important. I get messages on Instagram daily. Do you have this? Can I come? When can I come? And those things are important. Melanin says, if my restaurant is in Zanzibar, no, it's on mainland Tanzania. It's at 52 Chole Road in Masaki. We are hoping to go to Zanzibar soon, as well, because, there is opportunity there. So, what I'm looking to do with this restaurant is to franchise it, is to have one in Arusha, one in Zanzibar, one in Nairobi. That's what I'm looking to do. So it doesn't have to be like a big restaurant, but the name and the source has to be there. Yes, so we're in Dar. We're in Dar, Melanin. We are on 52 Trolley Road. So Miss Micaiah, hold on. Oh wow. Okay, so Miss Micaiah says that she gave my email address to a coworker who is planning to visit TZ next summer and looking for a place to stay with her friends. Yes, fantastic. So thank you for that. And it's those of you who are watching that they say, okay, I'm coming next week, I'm coming next month, and being able to make those reservations, and those reservations and those CMOS purchases help to keep us going. And for those of you who are asking about the CMOS, we sell it in 10-pound sample increments. So go ahead and email me, and we can discuss on that further. Okay? And let's see here. Oh, so the name is Mwani Mama Jamaican Restaurant. And let me write it here. So it's Mwani Mama Jamaican Restaurant. So Mwani is Swahili for sea moss. So Mwani Mama Jamaican Restaurant. So for those of you who are looking to take the sea moss, I'm trying to lower the barrier to entry, right? I'm trying to lower the barrier to entry for the CMOS when you get it and you start to distribute it, when you start talking about it. So there is visibility, especially on social media, about, there it is, Mwani Mama Jamaican Restaurant. And I'm going to put 52, the address, 52 Chole Road. So you can Google us and you can put it in Google Maps, and that's how you can find us. Okay. And you can see what the people are saying. So we do vegan food. In Jamaica, we call it ITAL food. So we do ITAL food, no meat. In addition to the traditional Jamaican food, for those of you who want traditional Jamaican stuff. Initially, I was not looking to do that, but in with the tourists and the foreigners knowing what Jamaican food is, they come in and they ask, "You have jerk chicken? Wanna have oxtail? Wanna have this?" So knowing what it is to want something and not have access to it, I think I would have enraged a lot of people by not yes, I would have enraged a lot of people by not bringing the traditional Jamaican food, and then I have a spin on it. So you can also follow us on Instagram at Mwani Mama Masaki, okay? And you will see when you go to the Google page that the food is banging, right? Mwani, this is our Instagram, Mwani Mama Masaki, okay? And so we're not exactly where we need to be, but we're getting there, right? And yes, I put my valid complaints about the issues we're facing in Tanzania, so that people can understand that this is some serious stuff. But at the same time, we have made progress and we have made headway, and we have done a lot that we're moving forward. Like I said, Tanzania is opening up. Africa is opening up. You see in West Africa and Central Africa, a lot of the countries are now realizing that their practices that have prohibited the country from moving forward and keeping people in poverty. and they're making changes, and they're putting down their lives on the line to make changes, right? And so if all I have to do is hold the line and, stay put and endure and keep working towards a goal for betterment and the improvement of Tanzanian people and the improvement of our condition as universal African people, if all I have to do is hold the line, then, I'm holding the line, right? Because, like I said, there are people who are going to come behind me who are going to need me to be in this position that I'm in. There are people who are going to need, us in this position, and we're not going to have it. At least I'm not, by going here, going there, going here, going there. you know um Stability is important, maintenance is important. you know um we, the African diaspora, we need to band together because, like I said, we don't really have any friends. Okay, the Africans are out here trying to help themselves, and they can barely help themselves, and but there are a lot in Tanzania. There are just a lot of hurdles to that people, that foreign companies face, regardless of your philosophies, regardless of what you're trying to do, regardless of what you're trying to achieve. There is just a lot of hurdles, and there's no voice to say, well, look, or category to say, well, these particular companies that, even though they're considered foreign companies, they're here for the benefit of Tanzanians. Let's see what we can do to lighten their load so that they can move a little faster to grow opportunities for Tanzanians. That voice is not there. Okay, so I'm hoping by being verbal and vocal that people understand that change has to happen. But by the same token, I am in the same boat. I am rowing, and I'm rowing as best as I can. And I think I've done a lot as one person. And I say that a lot, that I'm just me. It's just me. I'm the one doing the physical work. But I also appreciate the people who have loaned me money, the people who have invested in the company, that I actually have something to work, right? But at the same time, I also need boots on the ground who can do, okay? Boots that have experience, boots that have know-how, boots that have some resources, right? To get things done. So, I'm moving as fast as I possibly can, given the scenario or the opportunity that I have available to me. Okay? So, this is what I want people to take away from this conversation is, yes, I am still here in Tanzania. Number one. Yes, I appreciate everything that everyone has done over the past, few days to like reach out to me, communicate with me. Yes, I would like to continue to stay on the trajectory that I'm currently on. You see, you cannot see what I can see from over there. You can't understand what I can understand from in here. You can't really get a grasp of what exactly is happening unless you're doing the work. Even if you were sitting here right next to me, watching me and going, wow, Renee, you're doing a lot of stuff. Unless you're actually doing the work, you don't really know. And so it is very difficult to gauge, to say, oh, well, I need $50,000 to do this project. And then when you start the project, oh, we can't get sand, but we have to import the sand from somewhere else. And that's a cost. oh, the cost of cement has gone up, so multiply that by what if you need 100 bags, just add on another 10,000 T shilling to that. So 10 times 100, and then your cost goes up, right? And so there is a lot that comes with it, right? There is a lot that you can't see and you can't possibly know and you can't possibly fathom. But in order to make this industry into what it can be and then to make the company what it can be, we need to have specific things, and all of them I have already worked on. Okay. All of them I have already put in motion. So what is needed now? I do need a major investor. Yes. If you're not a major investor, I still need a small investor. Are you looking to come to Tanzania? I need bookings for the Exodus House. Are you eating out anytime soon and in the Dar es Salaam area? Come to the restaurant and support the restaurant. Are you looking to buy some CMOS that's quality traceable? Contact us, okay? So that we can continue to do the things that we're doing. Out here, we don't have access to banks. We don't have access to grants. We don't have access to loans. We don't have access to anything, okay? And what I would like to see happen, there are too many things on my plate, but what I would really like to see happen is some kind of funding system, whether that starts in the United States or in Europe or in Canada, some type of system that is put in place for making grants for people who wish to return to Africa and participate in business. Okay. That they would submit their business plan, their projections, their 5-year projection plan, their goals, things like that. Okay. And they should have real working experience, and they should be counseled on what they are going to endure or experience versus the laws of the countries that they're looking to enter, whether that's in Kenya or, Madagascar or Tanzania or Ghana or all of these things. Because what we have here is a desire of the child to return to the mother. And there is so much in place that keeps the child from suckling at the breasts of the mother. Okay. And we are in my opinion, the diaspora in Africa is in danger of sustainability. So we need an Africa Sustainable Fund for us, a pool of resources that is designed specifically for those who are looking to come and improve and uplift Africa. Okay, so we are here out of an emotional connection to Africa. And there are things that are going to happen in Africa that you have to cut away your emotion from. You have to say, okay, well, that's how it is. Let me just keep going. That's what's happening. Let me just keep going. Okay, all right, well, let me just keep going. They're trying to stop me and they're trying to fight me. Oh, let me just keep going. Because the only thing that's going to drive that is that strong emotional connection to the place and the people. Okay. And so we need to have something in place, right? We need to start talking to these apologists. At the end of the Civil War, you had all of the Civil War in the United States. Am I talking about the Civil War? No, I'm talking about the Revolutionary War. At the end of the Revolutionary War, you had all of these little pockets of power in place trying to get, how are we going to consolidate our power to help Black people to go back to Africa? And all of these little grants and all of these little pockets of power that were there, they were able to come up with plans for transportation, come up with plans for settlement, come up with plans for that. Now we need to get back to that. We need to get there because where we are now, we're financing our own repatriation and we are not respected or appreciated or recognized or supported for it. And that can't work. That can't work. That cannot work. Where that can't work. Me personally, I'm putting in myself in debt to support Africa. That's not right. That's not right. So we need mechanisms in place for the diehards, like people like me, who know how and have the right philosophy to come to Africa, and come what may, we are here for Africa. We need to have those things in place. So I'm putting out seeds and I hope it is dropping on fertile soil. I hope it is landing in the imagination of the people who can do, who know how to do, who have the resources to do, to put themselves together, okay? To make this a sustainable thing, because Africa needs us, the people who genuinely love Africa. That's who they need. They don't need the people who want to exploit Africa and take the stuff back and process it and put them in the position that they've been for the last 300 years. They don't need that anymore. Okay, Africa is changing. Africa is changing. The whole continent is changing. It is shifting. And as it shifts, you are going to see more and more upper middle income economies bursting out as people become more and more involved in their own upliftment. You're going to see more of this coming this way. Okay? And those of us who are here and those of us who are coming here, we have to be on the right side of the coin. If we're on the side of the coin, we're just trying to take, well, hey, you're just a coconut. Okay, you black outside, white inside. You have not changed your mind. You have not improved your philosophies. You have not indulged yourself into Pan-Africanism. You haven't changed your mind. If you're just out for the money, it's not going to work. And yes, you saw me cry, sweat, and stress in these past years. Okay, and I'm still here. Medea, same way. Managa nowhere. Medea right here, the same way. Okay, so I am here for the benefit of the African people. We need to have things in place. What these banks and these financial institution and these grant making arms don't want is for people like us to come back with our knowledge, our know-how, and support Africa. And I can tell you that as long as you are doing the right thing, at least nobody is bothering you. That no one is bothering you. As long as you are here doing the right thing and working towards the betterment of people in Africa, no one is going to bother you. All right. So pick a place on the map, get the hell up on out of the West. As you can see, y'all going back in lockdown. It's coming. Okay. I guarantee you it's coming. There is something that is coming. Okay. And I don't want you to, in your imagination, think that this is a joke. It is going to become more and more incumbent for people to have access to health foods. CMOS is one of those things that is going to help to defeat this war. Okay. Also, for those of you who are looking at opportunities in Africa, now is the time to start really looking. 2020 was just a drill. Okay, and I'm not going to say anymore. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. 2020 was just a drill. There is real stuff coming. and you have to be really ready. Okay? I have put my money, my energy, my name, my reputation to prepare a place that you will have, that where I am, you shall abide. I have gone ahead of you and prepared a place. Okay? So take advantage of what I have done. Take advantage, not in the capitalistic sense, in the sense that you don't have to look at Africa as one monolithic question mark. You have a face and a place to attach to returning to Africa. You have a voice to attach to that. You have a business to attach to that. Look at investing in this company, in the East Africa Seaweed Company, because we are not playing light games. We're not playing simple things. And until you are here, you don't really know and you don't really understand the fullness of what I have done. But I alone cannot do it. So if you're looking and watching the news and reading stuff and you choose to panic, you are not necessarily focusing your energy. You need to balance and align your energy. Okay? If illness is coming, get the CMOS. If it's a time where people need to go, come to Africa. Focus your energy, put yourself to work, organize yourself, centralize yourselves, centralize your power. Okay? So, you know, focus, 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 focus. If you're looking to come to Africa, book the Exodus House. If you're looking to get the CMOS, contact us. If you're looking to come to Dar es Salaam, let me see. Let me see. Uh-oh. Yeah. Yeah, so there are some repeat or for diaspora in various countries. Um, okay, Repat Africa is in France. Yeah. So yeah, those things, okay? And I would love to see that. I would love to see that because but the thing is the way how I'm talking about structuring what I'm saying, how it needs to be done, it needs to be done in a very, very intelligent way. Okay? If anyone is thinking of starting like an NGO or a nonprofit along those lines, right? I have some ideas of how this can go, and I have a lot of knowledge that I can share in the space of development or repatriation and the different laws that are in place and the different rules that are in place to make things work smoothly. It would have to be an NGO, it would have to be a non-government entity or another kind of society, right? It would have to be something like that. And you have to be like a really diligent person and start this in chapters, but we can't have no movement without funding. We can't have any kind of repatriation without reparations. But we have to frame that in a more intelligent way for 2023, 2024, for the modern times. Okay? So we have to start thinking about how we can intelligently structure repatriation, right? Marcus Garvey would not have his success if he did not have a means by which to raise and grow funds. Okay. I wouldn't have success with completing this house if I also wasn't selling Starline certificates, how Marcus Garvey did. So that's what I did. I sold Starline certificates for people to pre-book their reservations, and all they would have to do is tell me the date in which they would come, and on those dates is when I would apply the certificate towards their stay. And that is how I was able to do some of what I did, not all, some, and it helped a lot, right? So we have to have a vehicle We have to have a way in which we can do this more sustainably. But when in these last 3 years, I have had hundreds of people come to Tanzania, come here to me. And in that time, I would say only a handful stayed, right? But because certain policies didn't weren't in place for them to stay, some of them needed to leave. But a lot of people who could have stayed could have centralized themselves into a group and pool their resources, share housing, and make themselves into a community, or make themselves into a business that they can be stronger and sustainable for each other. However, when a lot of people came here, they came here with a single mind. I, while I was in the hotel, I said to, I think one couple I met at the hotel, I said, let's get a place together. Let's get a place together. Since you all are thinking about going to the Gambia, let's get a place together and we can share the space and we can save money and you can always go to the Gambia and come back. But when you start talking like sharing, when you start talking like us, we, and community, a lot of African American people think that you don't have any money of your own. They think you don't have anything. So they're looking at, oh, I'm going to help her. Oh, I'm going to improve her. Or, oh, I'm going to do something for her. And she ain't got nothing. Right. And I'm not one of those people that walk around and talk about my handbag and talk about my sunglasses and talk about the name brand of my phone. And I'm not one of those people. I've never have been, never will be. If it's a good phone, it's a good phone for a reason. Maybe I need it for a camera or whatever. Okay. But those things we need to fix. And I love now, I see a lot of groups on Facebook, Africans returning to Africa, but you can't come back without a plan. And I think having a some kind of entity that is getting funding and is overlooking people's business plans and approving them for repatriation because they have the tools and the skills, what it takes to come to Africa, and they have practical working knowledge. They have a certificate somewhere with their name on it, or they have experience that they can give you an account for how they do things. Those are the people Africa need. We don't need people to just come up here and don't know the game and don't understand the position in which they fit in. That's what Africa needs, right? So I would love to see something like that. I would love to help to grow something like that, to be a part of that as it is today. I'm gonna think some of that the kind of energy to jump into something like that, though I would be the man to do it. I am I'm not the man with the energy, right? My hands are full. Okay. So, if anybody is thinking about this, you know, I would love to be a part of getting getting the boots on the ground. So if you people were interested in the CMOS and booking the Exodus house and coming back to Africa, go ahead and make your reservations. I took down the website because it's invitation only. So you're not going to find the website. What you are going to find is me. Email me, tell me your dates when you're looking to come, and we will work on the schedule of when you'll get there. Christmas is coming. Let me give you a reminder. Christmas is coming. Usually in Christmas time, this place is booked. People are looking to come to Africa because it's a time of the year when they would remember. That's one. And two is over the New Year's time, a lot of people want to celebrate their New Year in Africa. Okay. So I would strongly suggest that if you are looking to come this way anytime soon or over the holiday period, you must make your reservations starting from now. because if you don't, you're not necessarily going to find the place. And I find people who they're staying other places and they want to come. Nothing is wrong. You can come. We have the beach. We have, the recreation space. However, a lot of people want to stay, but I can't accommodate them because they don't have a reservation. So go ahead, send me the email to make your reservation. Also, communicate with me about the CMOS for those who are interested. And for anybody who is thinking about anything that I'm talking about, or, go ahead and email me, but you have to be somebody who is educated and understand exactly how something like this would work, and I can instruct you on how to put it together, and we can work together on that, right? So that's what I would like to see happen. We don't really have concrete things to stand on, right? We don't really have anything to stand on. So you have to be about it. You have to have your own resources, and your own resources can only take you so far in a place like Tanzania. In a place like Tanzania, you must have property, land to get out your 10-year lease, to get out your certificate of incentives, 500,000 US dollars to get that out, to be able to get out an export license and get out, the things that you need in order to make impact. So I've already done all that stuff. Those are paper signed, done deal. Okay. And so what I'm looking to do is to continue that trajectory up that mountain. So I need more people and more players who want to get involved in what I have already created. Okay. So again, all that I've made, I've said it before, the things that I talk about, I was talking about the things that we endured, um, and where we are now. Where we are now, we are at a completely different place. Okay. So that's what I got to say. Go ahead and email me, communicate with me, and let's get this going. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. Oh yeah, don't forget, I'm putting out that movie. I will be putting out the movie. It is worth the time and the effort to watch it to the end. It is a very important film. It has a lot of things that you've never seen before. It has a lot of things that I'm discussing. I'm going into a lot of detail about certain things that I believe people need to be educated about. If you need to have your bones shaken up real well, that is something that you have to watch, and I'm going to put it out for free. I know how to market it to get it to where I can earn money from it, but that is not the purpose at this time. The bigger story is reaching more people if I can put it for free. And if you watch it and it touches you and it makes you feel something, share it. This is a huge, huge story. It's the story of my life, not my whole life, but the story, one of the most important stories of my life. And I think, it's a great human impact story. So I'm going to share that with you as soon as I finish within the next few days. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye bye.